My brothers, if anyone among you wanders from the truth and someone brings him back, let him know that whoever brings back a sinner from his wandering will save his soul from death and will cover a multitude of sins. James chapter 5 verse 19 and 20. James does not conclude his letter with greetings and benedictions, which is typical of the other New Testament epistles, but with a call to action. For the last time, James uses his favorite address, brothers. But unlike other times where he calls them to obedience, here he encourages them to bring back any person among them who might have wandered from the truth. The language of wandering that James uses here might suggest that he is thinking only of unintended or casual sins, but the Greek word used refers to any deviation from the truth of the faith. And since James suggests that the wandering Christian is saved from spiritual death, the deviation from faith here must be a very serious one. James specifically refers to anyone among you. He is a person identified with the Christian community. Brings him back means turning back to the faith from which one had strayed. So, a community member who departs from the faith by becoming involved in sin of some kind is to be brought back into the fold by a fellow believer. In verse 20, he describes the result of such an action. Whoever brings back a sinner from his wandering will save his soul from death and will cover a multitude of sins. Whose soul is saved and whose sins are covered here? The sequence of thought in the verse makes it awkward to refer the covering of sins to a person different from the one whose salvation has been described. Furthermore, Scripture often associates salvation with the covering of sins, so the two phrases, will save his soul from death and will cover a multitude of sins, are parallel descriptions of the blessing attained by the sinner who is brought back. So we have an obvious call here to rightly discern when a fellow member sins, to bring him back from his sin or his wandering from the truth. We know James has said earlier in this letter, be doers of the word, not hearers only. And in light of the last two verses, we can add to it, see that others do them also. Have a blessed day.